AITA for embarrassing someone by pretending to be Japanese. Backstory. F20. Have a Japanese name even though I am not ethnically Japanese. My mom is Korean and my dad is British. They met and fell in love while studying in Japan, and had me there after marrying. We lived there until I was 14 before moving to the States. This will be important later on. Today a group of my roommate's friends came over to study with her, and I happened to be in the living room when they arrived. They were introducing themselves to me, and when I said my name, I have a pretty common Japanese girl name, so it's pretty hard to be mistaken about the origin. And one of the girls made a disgusted face and laughed at me, saying that was so dumb. She said that she was Japanese American and I was culturally appropriating her country as a white person. I tried to explain that I lived in Japan for a while and that was why, but she kept insisting I was lying and that if I was telling the truth I would be able to speak the language. Since she put it like that, I started talking to her in Japanese, basically explaining where I lived there and asking which prefecture her parents were from, etc. She ends up stuttering through a sentence in an awkward manner before leaving in a huff. Later my roommate told me I embarrassed her by pretending to be more Japanese than an actual Japanese person and appropriating the culture, and her friend expected an apology. My roommate doesn't think I did anything wrong, but now I feel like a bad AITA? NTA. The Japanese American guest was out of line, making rude comments about your name, and accusing you of lying when you told her you'd grown up there. You weren't pretending anything. You have a Japanese name because that's the name your parents chose for you. And you speak the language because you grew up there. NTA. As a white person, if your mother is Korean, you're biracial. Hit back by telling everyone you're expecting an apology from her for disrespecting your biracial identity, and minimizing the discrimination that people of Korean blood experience in Japan. If she wants to play social justice poker, show her you've got a full house, and make her pay up. You did not embarrass her in any way. She embarrassed herself. She made an incorrect assumption even after you explained your history and background. You should be expecting the apology. I am confused about what they thought you were appropriating. Your parents gave you your name, and it's not cultural appropriation to speak a language, especially after she asked you to. Seems like they wanted you to introduce yourself as Ashley. Erase the first 14 years of your life. Pretend you didn't know Japanese and defeatedly sigh. You got me. NTA. NTA. You didn't choose your name. And you were literally born in Japan. That makes you Japanese. You're not just pretending to be. Edit. I learned today that Japan doesn't grant citizenship by birth. If we're being technical. Thanks for the info. But being born in Japan, growing up there and spending most of her life there is enough to make me think it's still part of her identity. And it sounds like OP feels that way as well. NTA. Their friend was the one who was rude, condescending, racist and a bore. You put her in her place. You deserve an apology for her. Don't you dare apologize, as you were totally in the right here. NTA. Your name has literally no impact on anything significant outside of your own personal life. I don't believe in the ownership of names. Just like I don't believe in the ownership of clothes or hairstyles. That kid is an asshole and is just virtue signaling. Your roommate is an asshole too. NTA. She doesn't know the story nor history of your family. What gives her, or her friend, supposedly, the audacity to expect an apology? In Tosh, she's mad because she looked dumb and made an assumption about you without knowing the facts. Unfortunately, I have found that many of my Asian friends that were born in America struggle with their cultural identity. Many have a lot of guilt about struggling with their language skills or cultural knowledge. But none of that is your responsibility or problem. You taught her a very valuable lesson. NTA grew up in the Japanese culture. Culturally, if not racially, she is Japanese. NTA. You did absolutely nothing wrong. You aren't pretending to be anything. NTA. It's your name. It's not like or impersonating a Japanese person. My name is from a country I've never visited. But that's what my parents named me. NTA. She's embarrassed because she called you out and you speak better Japanese than she does. She's the one who owes you an apology for trying to shame you for something beyond your control. Your name. And then not being supportive when you backed it up by speaking the language. NTA. You literally did nothing but say your own name. She never gave you an opportunity to provide any context. Not that you should have to. Tried to prove you were lying by saying you ought to be able to speak Japanese. Then left in a huff when you could indeed speak it. I cannot see a single thing here that you could reasonably be expected to have done differently in this scenario. NTA. She started it, you ended it. NTA. This friend is racist and ignorant. No. You're NTA. But your friend and the Japanese American girl definitely are. Don't know how she can consider herself an actual Japanese person if she can't even match your language skills. Seems like she's more American than anything. Clear NTA. NTA. This is always a weird one in our modern international world, I'd say. While she may be ethnically Japanese by upbringing, she's an American. Most of what she knows about Japan is likely secondhand. Maybe she's heard stories from parents who grew up there. Possibly she's third or fourth generation even, with her grandparents, great-grandparents actually born there. Who knows? I feel like you knowing the language and actually growing up there makes you more Japanese than her cold sweat smile. I can kind of relate. I'm ethnically Indian, but born and raised in the UK. Grandparents on both sides came here, and both my parents grew up here from early ages. Not remembering India, they both speak one of the Indian languages because that's all my grandparents could speak. But I don't know it all since they never spoke it at home to me. Whenever I saw my grandparents, I could never talk directly to them without my parents as a translator, which was often just awkward. Put me in India now, and while I might look like some people, I would have little idea how anything worked, or even how to talk to anyone. Lol. This isn't about citizenship. This is about culture. You grew up there, so therefore you have part of that culture in you. NTA. Ask her why she has Chinese ideograms in her name.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.